Okay, I'm gonna assign your draft and draft workshop right now. All of this is in service to the final paper. So if you haven't yet, you'll want to watch the assignment for the final paper. And I'm going to start by walking you through all of the screens on Canvas that tell you how to do this. There is nothing I'm going to say that's not already on Canvas, and there's nothing in here that you probably don't know already. So I think that this is the page to share, and I'm right. Am I? Yes. Okay. This is today. The annotated bibliography is due on Wednesday, which you know. On Friday now and Thursday, we're doing conferences, which you know. And then a week from today, the paper draft is due. That's mostly what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk also about the draft workshop, which is on the official last day of class. And then your final paper is due the following Tuesday. So today's the 18th, and you have until the 2nd to finish your paper, which is, if I'm doing math right, just over 2 weeks. No problem. Okay, I need to move this down. So the assignment for the paper is here, and you've seen that already because I assigned the paper. Because I just set up the calendar for conferences, I will remind you that I'm encouraging you to meet with me via Zoom. You don't have to, but I'm sure your paper will be better if you do, so please do. I'm particularly interested in your argument during the conference. If you don't have anything that you've written, that's probably, there's still a lot for us to talk about. If you have written stuff, even if it's just free writing, a couple of pages of thoughts, you can share that with me as a Google Doc, and then we can look at it together. That would probably be considerably more useful. Okay. The draft. I will remind you that the final paper needs to advance an argumentative interpretation, and the argument must refer to larger theoretical questions we explored this term. Okay, between 8 and 10 pages, 3 secondary sources. So the assignment for the draft, I didn't really cut down the number of pages that I request for a draft because I want the draft to flesh out an argument. Shoot for 5 to 7. That would be a draft that looked more like a final paper. It doesn't have to be, let me rephrase, that would be a draft that explored all of the issues that you might possibly want to bring up in your final paper. It has to be at least 4 in Times New Roman 12 with 1-inch margins. Probably you will, however you write this, you're going to upload it to Canvas, and you cannot upload it as a PDF. So be advised that it needs to be in a doc format. So that could be any way you download it from Google Docs or Pages or whatever is fine. Your draft may include outlines of how you will analyze examples or use sources. If it's only 4 pages, it'll probably be because of outlines. It has to be intelligible to others. I don't know how you write papers, so I sometimes write papers with just writing out all of my thoughts, where all of my paragraphs begin with the words "so," "okay," "then," and then the paragraph continues. Or sometimes I make outlines that are pretty elaborate. You do what works for you and include all of it in some kind of draft. People have to understand your draft, and while your draft doesn't have to look like a final paper, it does have to be coherent enough that people can talk to you about what you think your argument is. Okay. You also need to include in some meaningful way at least 2 secondary sources. You can use sources that you found or sources that other people put in the annotated bibliography. I'll talk about that a little bit more in class on Wednesday. And meaningful means that you don't just want to put a little quotation in there, but you want to be engaging with the actual argument in the article that you are citing or working with. The purpose of your draft is to introduce us to an argument, work toward an argument, and show us what analysis and what the implications of the argument will be. Okay, fill out the writer's preference form and then upload your drafts. Okay, I'm going now here to the actual paper draft assignment. These are all of the kinds of files you can upload. This says exactly the same thing that I just read to you, I believe, except this is the actual page and this is linked to on the syllabus where you upload the document. When you have finished your draft, you need to fill out the writer's preferences form. And the writer's preferences form looks like this. You have to put your name in there, and then you need to, or you probably want to, ask questions about how your argument could be stronger, better, more focused, have larger implications, be more about things that we've talked about all term maybe, and less about just staying within one book. What questions do you have about analysis and whether or not you're actually proving something or analyzing something in interesting ways using close readings, organization similarly. You also need to tell people what kind of comments you want. If you're the kind of person, or if you're in a mood where you just need people to be supportive and tell you what's working well, then you want to click one. If you're in a mood or the kind of person who wants people to tell you exactly every single thing that's wrong or troubling or confusing or weird about your paper, then you would click 5. Okay, so then you submit this, and then the next thing on the syllabus is the draft workshop. The draft workshop says, look at the draft assignment to see whom you'll be working with is indicated under peer reviews. I did it on here, although there's nothing on there right now. So peer reviews will tell you who is in your workshop group. This is a very important moment for me to point out that I am eager to put you into groups that you yourselves want to be in. So if there's someone you'd like to work with, or if there's someone you'd not like to work with, send me a message and I will do my best to accommodate you. Okay, I want you to like your group. Okay, so draft workshop. Look at the draft assignment to see whom you'll be working with. Comment, and then what you'll find, I can't show you this because there aren't any uploaded, is a bunch of documents that you can annotate through Canvas. You can highlight, strike through, add comments, ask questions, draw pictures on the document that will constitute your feedback for the person. Comment on the drafts according to the questions listed on the grading criteria, which is, I'll link it here, but it's also linked on the paper assignment page, and according to the writer's preferences. The writer's preferences are, will be on a sheet that looks like this, and you will find the people in your group and figure out, do they want comments that are a 4, what their questions are about these different topics, whether there's anything else they want you to know, which might be like, I wrote this at 4 o'clock and I hate my paper, or maybe something even more useful. Then this might be a lot harder for you now that we're not on campus, but if it turns out to be really difficult for you to figure out how to make this work on Canvas, maybe message me. That might be more useful than trying to do this, but we'll see. We'll work it out. And then this doesn't obtain. Bring a device to, I'll have to actually just cross this out. But what you will do is come to class, and I'll put you in small groups with the people in your workshop, and you will talk about your papers. After class, complete the workshop evaluation. And that looks like this. What I want you to do is tell me about the person's draft. And so you'll notice these are the criteria for your draft. Notice how simple they are. Very easy to get full credit. And then how helpful and consider how helpful the person's comments were in the draft workshop, and how thoroughly the person responded to your questions and gave you what you needed. Okay, so that's the whole assignment. I'll add a couple of links in here and change a couple of things that I just noticed. For right now, what you want to notice is that if you go to the syllabus and you click on paper draft, you get here, which is actually the real assignment. And I've walked you through how the whole thing is going to work, but this is what you need to pay attention to for next Monday. If you have any questions, of course, you should let me know. And I hope this is explaining every single thing that could possibly come up. Again, and importantly, let me know if there's someone you want to work with or don't want to work with on the final paper. And I will be very happy to make that work. And it will be easier for me too, after I have conferences, to see who's working on what texts maybe, and that might affect the groups also. Okay, good. Consider the draft assigned.